Number 1 ranked UConn is in town tonight, and the number 2 ranked Gamecocks are looking to upset them in front of a sold-out crowd. An undefeated season is at stake, and they're up against a tough UConn senior class. Let's see if the Gamecocks could pull it off. 18,000 fans packed Colonial Life Arena for the most anticipated matchup of the season. A Gamecock win over powerhouse UConn would mean the Huskies' first loss in 60 games. A Gamecock loss would be their first at home since February 10, 2013. Both teams knew they needed to come out from the beginning with their A game. The Huskies jumped out to an early lead, but the Gamecocks got off any shots they could to stay close behind. They still struggled offensively against the relentless defense of UConn, and their situation only got worse when top scorer Asia Wilson left the game with a leg injury in the second period. Luckily for the Gamecocks, Sarah Amovbia came off the bench and had herself a night. She provided the spark for the Gamecocks to make an offensive surge late in the first half. They trailed UConn 35-25 going into halftime. The fans kept the energy going into the second half of this intense game. Without Asia Wilson, the Gamecocks struggled to hold off UConn. Sarah Amovbia was one of the few players that found her shots falling in during the third period. Wilson returned to the bench during the third, but the tape on her shin was the unfortunate reminder that she wasn't 100%. UConn continued to pull away as they hit shot after shot. With the combined efforts of Wilson and Amovbia, the Gamecocks battled to hang into the game the best they could. They drove hard into the paint for layups and drew as many fouls as they could. Even when they did get their shots to fall, UConn would come right back with their own. The Gamecocks couldn't step up to their level and fell to the Huskies 66-54. Coaches and players of both teams reflected back on the game.
We knew we were playing a great team. We knew we were playing a team that is almost unbeatable on their home court. And they're probably going to go back to the Final Four like they did last year. They're that good. And when my guys know that the challenge is huge, those three seniors usually come up huge.
These are the reasons why we come to UConn, is to play these big-time games, and to be at someone else's home court where they have a sellout crowd and everyone's cheering against us. That's exciting for us. The odds are against us, and we have to find a way to fight and win the game.
When the ball's not going in, you really want to try to force something up because you see the other teams they're putting up numbers, but you really just have to stick with the system, and I feel like we had kind of a hard time doing that because we were just so anxious to get something up because we knew we couldn't have a dead period where we didn't score any points. So, I mean, it is tough, but I feel like we're on our way to work there, and I think this game really did us good justice.
I think it's a good game at a good time, especially when, we can have a sellout, especially when, we got two top teams in the country. I think it's just great for women's basketball. You don't get this kind of hit, in conference play. And for us, it's a month outside of March Madness. You get to measure yourself against the top team in the country. And hopefully you can utilize this game to work on some of the things that, separate you from, winning a game like this.
It may have been a loss for the Gamecocks, but they can take a lot out of this game and learn from it. Holding UConn's dominant offense to only 66 points is an impressive defensive feat. The Gamecocks look to bounce back against Florida on Thursday. For Capital City Sports, I'm Lauren Schwartz.